Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Okay, as I record this, it's early October 2025, and this will be actually being released on December 30th, 2025. We're in the height of football season, college, pro, high school, and I just wanted to use that as kind of a jumping off point for my conversation today, which will be a little bit different. I do want to say, or I guess forewarn people, they are working on the roof over my office, and there might be a thud or two here or there. I was testing it out and nothing was being picked up on the mic, but who knows? So anyhow, you hear some disruption. That's what it is, but I think my mic's pretty good about isolating out anything but maybe my voice or a turn of a page or something like that. But anyhow, football season, we're in the height of it, and one thing, you see different football teams and they've got their trick plays and fancy this and fancy that and formations and whatnot. And I remember back playing football, so a while ago, playing football, and the coach is always talking about, winning is just really comes down to blocking and tackling. It really just comes down to fundamentals, just doing the fundamentals, and the teams that do the fundamentals well tend to win. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, fundamentals, right? The Patriots, the Packers, the Steelers in the 70s. It was all fundamentals. The Dallas Cowboys, it was all fundamentals, blocking and tackling. And the same is true of networking. It really comes down to fundamentals. And I know I spent a lot of time on this podcast really kind of getting into some unique concepts with respect to networking, just different ways of looking at networking. I have a lot of guests on who talk about various different thoughts and ideas on networking, really, a lot of refinements. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to blocking and tackling, easy for me to say. And so what I wanted to do today was just devote some time to talking about, what I would term just the basics in networking, the networking blocking and tackling, if you will. So I happened to stumble across this. I got a book from somebody I had met this year, Michael A. Foreman, and he's got a book called Networking Unleashed. He was actually on my podcast. He does a lot of talking, a lot of speaking, working with people with respect to networking, and his book, Networking Unleashed, Mastering the Art of Networking, Discovering the 7-Step Path to Effective Networking, designed to help everyone achieve their networking goals. Short little book, certainly worth its weight in gold. But towards the end, he gives a list of things that, just networking, blocking, and tackling, if you will. So I'll just kind of go down the list, if you will, and make commentary. The first thing on the list is make networking a regular activity. I mean, networking has got to be a lifestyle. Connecting with other people, building relationships, it's got to be a lifestyle. It can't be something that you just pick up when you need a job or you're trying to make a quota. It's got to be an ongoing thing. I had coffee earlier today with a longtime friend, Craig Holmberger. He's the he's the franchisee for Action Coach in Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, a number of states. And he talks to his franchisees, his sub-franchisees. It's all about relationships. You can get into neat little social media sorts of things, but it's just make 10 calls a day, have 10 conversations a day, 10 meaningful conversations a day, and it'll all work out for you. So just make it a regular activity. Stop relying on the internet. That just kind of plays into what Craig was talking about. He's got his franchisees. I have people in AmSpirit. Hey, I can build my network. Got to send out emails. And my response is never that won't work. Generally, what my response is yeah, you can do that. You can put posts up online and you can send out emails. And then I'll just say, well, you need about 10,000 a day, just some absurd number. And the reality is people think that this low low effort activity is the thing that's going to make it happen. And Craig is saying have 10 conversations a day, knowing that those 10 conversations aren't going to lead to business. Some are going to go nowhere, but maybe one or two start to really move along. Maybe three or four others, come back into play later on. There'll be maybe three that just go nowhere and they hang up on you. But that's 10 conversations, and people think, well, if I just do, if I do a post a day, something's going to happen, or if I just, shoot out a newsletter every so often, something's going to happen. And the reality, it's probably not. I'm not saying it never could happen, but you got to do a lot. So don't rely on the internet. Really, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. It comes down to relationships, and that just starts with a conversation. Know who you're reaching out to. Know the people you're reaching out to. Know who you're talking to. And in this day and age, it's so easy. When I first started in the private practice of law in the mid-'90s, you had no clue who you were talking to. You had to get together with them and find out their story. Now I can get on LinkedIn and I know people's story right away, where they went to school. And obviously they're going to fill in the blanks. How did you end up? You went to school in California. How did you end up in Ohio, or vice versa? Be positive. Use positive language is another comment that Michael makes. People respond to positivity, and I talk about this. That if you want to be a mope, if you want to be downtrodden, you'll get a little bit of sympathy in the short run, but people grow tired of that. But positivity is just continually an attractive force. Cultivate your power contacts. Those people in your network that are really your cheerleaders. I mean, I have lots of people in my network, and I certainly love them all, and will certainly help them all. But there are some out there, Berta Medina, Derek Morgan, Mary Jenkins. There's some out there that are just, there's a lot of give and take and listening, and how are you doing, and I care about you, you care about me. Those are your power contacts, and you need to kind of cultivate those. Don't expect anything. Don't keep score. Don't keep score. Don't expect anything. Do things for other people, and just trust it'll come back to you. It always seems to make its way back to you. Karma is kind of a or divine intervention. Whatever you believe, it just seems to work out, and you can't. One of the things I've been fond of saying is that what you put into life and what you get out of it is tied together. Is tied together. You just can't see the string, right? Imagine this. You can't see how it's all balled up and how it all works and how it all intertwines. But the things you're doing will come back to you. So don't expect anything. Take opportunities to meet people. Every contact has opportunity out there. I talk in the book, Foundational Networking, how I ended up as an extra in the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Simply from having a conversation every day with my parking lot attendant. That was it. It was that, I don't want to say it was that simple. I had no expectation of it, but it was just, it was a relationship. It was a very tenuous relationship. It was just a friendly relationship. How's your daughter? How's your granddaughter? Hey, would you be interested in being an extra in a movie? And that's how it all happened. Focus on how you can help people. That's really the key. Probably should be the top of the list. Find ways to help people. Don't expect anything. Things will come your way. Go to events alone. People can be afraid of that. And if you don't want to go to an event alone, at least when you get to the event, separate. Right? Hey, just go your separate ways. I know we came here together. We'll leave together. You go your way. I'll go my way, and we'll meet in the middle. Bring business cards. Don't forget your business cards. That should be obvious. Always have business cards. I know people now have electronic things. They want to bump phones and things like that. I'm kind of old school. I like to have a card. I like to enter it in. I like to have it. I like to write on notes. I have cards with me. That's just my thing. But if you have a different opinion, great. Be sure to meet people in other industries. A lot of times people really try to size up what it is that they're, what people can do for them, and you just don't know who knows who, right? I mean, it's just, you may be talking to an engineer or somebody who's a dock worker. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but their brother-in-law or their best friend or somebody they might know is in accounting, the actual place you want to be, or knows the client that you're looking for, or they might have a side hustle that you can service them with. Make a networking goal. Have an objective when you're going out to events. In Berta Medina's book, she talks about her goal being, I just want to talk to 5 people. That's it. I'm bringing 5 business cards. I'm going to try and collect 5 business cards. Outline your objectives and target networking audience. What are you trying to get out of your networking? Get clear on that. Get clear on that, and that will help you as you come to events. Again, you're not necessarily trying to hone in on those people, but you really kind of arm your reticular activation system, if you will. And if you write these things out, then you're subconsciously you're looking for these things. Network with your customers. A lot of times people don't think that they're customers, and even their vendors. Those are people who certainly. Customers know other potential customers. Vendors know other people who you can serve. I mean, the person who brings paper to your office or services your copier is connected to other business types. Ask for introductions. Always be looking to connect with people. One of the members in AmSpirit, Chris Weibel, one of the things he says is, I will meet anybody who's a connector. I'll meet anybody who's just really game for meeting other people, because connected people know other connected people, and it's just a great way of expanding your network. So ask for introductions. Be kind. I don't know if I can comment too much on that, but it matters. I have bad days. I have good days. I'm kinder when I'm having good days. Things are a whole lot better for me, and my networking when I'm having a good day. Attitude: go in assuming you like them. Forget what you've heard. Right? Brian Ahern, somebody I interviewed on the podcast, he's an influence expert. That's his whole thing. Is when he goes to meet somebody, he just finds a way to like them, and whatever it is, and by finding a way to like them, it comes through in his attitude and his demeanor, and they can't help but like them in return. Go out of your way to compliment those who are usually uncomplimented. We all run into people. Again, back to my parking lot attendant story, right? I mean, it's just people just walk by her every day and handed their keys or paid their bill or whatever. And it was 30 seconds of kindness every day. It's just, hey, how's it going? Your daughter looks great in her senior picture or whatever it was. Just little sorts of things. And certainly say thank you. Just be polite to other people. Yes, sir, ma'am. Just the little niceties. Those things, and be genuine about them, but those things get picked up and those things get noticed. And those are just that's the list that Michael Foreman has in his book, Networking Unleashed. And I would certainly pick up his book. It's a quick little read. But I would think on those things, just the basic sorts of things. People always, what can I be doing? What can I be doing? You know what? The basics, blocking and tackling, that creates championship football teams. It creates championship networking as well.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.